Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Wherever you are in the world, welcome once again to another session of Living World of Darkness. This is a scene for the Mage venue. We actually open up within the walls of the Temple of the Wheel, specifically in the bedroom of Maggie Keller, where whatever she is up to, she will notice the lock of hair given to her by Sif begin to glow, and the strands are going to be arranging themselves to write her a letter.
So Maggie looks at this and first kind of scratches the side of her head. I, I didn't think there was this much hair in the locket. The lock of hair. Okay. Daughter of Order, your kindness and loyalty has been worth all the copper pennies in the Nine Realms. Come see me in the Bronx, Botanical Garden, and our reward. Nuts. She's going to she's going to write that down, and then she's going to go up to Rose's office and just gently knock on the door.
There is an audible sigh, but you'll hear her voice. What is it?
She opens the door. Normally I would ask how you know it was me, but I, I think we're beyond that point. I just got this message from Sif. She hands over the steno pad.
She reads through it. She raises an eyebrow. Interesting.
So, should I go? Should I not? I mean, I'm kind of at a loss here.
I suppose that is at your discretion. Do you trust Sif?
I trust her more than I do Fenrir, and you haven't said anything disparaging about her after meeting her, so I'm going to assume that she's at least cordial and polite.
Then I suppose there's your answer. Whatever you do in meeting with this thing,
Hmm.
try not to get the rest of us murdered.
If it comes down, I'll try and make sure it only comes down on my head.
Rose will nod. She seems to approve of this plan.
Um, all the same, how closely do you monitor me on any given day?
I have somebody's eyes on you. Why do you ask?
Um, if anything happens to me, anything that I have, uh, make sure that Tell Me gets it.
Very well then. If you find yourself in danger, I promise Those of us in the casino will put forth the effort to save you before we begin dividing up your earthly belongings. But at the moment, you seem to have a very important duty to perform for fate.
Yeah, I do. And at that, Maggie sort of reaches into her bag and pulls out a tarot card deck and looks over to where the conference room is. Do you mind if I use your conference room for a bit?
Not at all.
She smiles and then walks over into the next room. And I would like to roll my entropy to do a divination. I've never done this before, so I may need some help.
Alrighty. What exactly are you trying to see with entropy?
She's trying to get a feel for how the events may play out. I don't even know if that's covered under the purview of Entropy 1, but I believe it is.
Entropy 1 can definitely help you.
Okay.
It's not as effective as like Time 2 Entropy 1, but you still get stuff.
Can I use her Esoterica for this roll after I do the Arete roll?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Then I am going to first roll her Arete, and I'm going to spend a point of willpower. So this will be difficulty 4. That is 3 successes.
Alright.
And then I will use intelligence esoterica or perception esoterica to, as she begins to lay out the cards to interpret what she sees.
Your Esoterica is in Tantra.
All right. Occult or cosmology?
You can use occult.
Okay.
It would be intelligence occult.
All right. And I'll drop 1 more willpower point on this. This is going to be one of those kind of scenes, I'm guessing. Oh, okay. Well, 4 successes.
You've learned pretty well from Rose the meaning and the symbols behind the tarot cards. One of the foci that she has really imparted upon you. The cards will lay themselves out. There are a pair of major arcana that show up in a position in conflict with each other. The first one appears to be the Hierophant. This one, from what you've seen, symbolizes Sif. And he is very, very much at odds with, let's see, let's make him the Devil.
Ominous.
The cards that lay out before you seem fairly reminiscent of yourself and your friends. You see them laid out. Some draw closer to Sif, and by some that is referring to you. The ones representing most of the others that may be involved, vague as some of the cards are, many of them seem towards Fenrir, while even more remain in the center, perhaps undecided. The cards all meet in a pattern, with the very apex being the Wheel of Fortune. And right next to the Wheel of Fortune is the world. Essentially, through your reading and through your interpretations of these cards, the two forces, chaos and order, are at odds. These odds will determine how the Wheel of Fortune affects the world. The determining factor are the mages in the center.
She lets out a really long sigh, shakes her head, gathers the cards back together and puts them in her deck, or in the little deck box that she has for them, and then puts them back in her bag. She pats Abraham on the head one time, and then gets on a train to head to the Bronx. Woohoo, the Bronx! We can go there. She goes into the botanical garden.
You travel to the Bronx undeterred. It's a pretty simple car ride there. The botanical garden shows up on Google Maps, so you have no real difficulty finding it. The fascinating part about the Bronx Botanical Garden is that while it's a very lovely sort of park with lots of foliage and lots of things very native to New York City, there is something that you've never seen there on any of the pictures of it that are advertised to tourists. A massive redwood tree right in the center with a diameter that is quite honestly rather baffling, and branches that extend over nearly the entirety of the garden. If you'd like, you can make me a perception awareness.
Alrighty. Two successes.
There is a lot of magical energy here.
Unfortunately, I do believe that Bob is currently unavailable because she would send this text off to Ken. So she walks over to the railing that sort of partitions the tree off from like the stone paths and pulls out the cigarette case and looks at the locks of hair, closes it back up, and sits there waiting.
At the base of the tree, Maggie will notice that there is actually a fairly large amount of people sitting around it. It seems very bizarre and very strange at first, and she'll hear them speaking among each other, voices tinged with perhaps a bit of relief, a bit of fear and awe. but they are not speaking English.
Of course they aren't. And I'm
If
guessing they're not speaking Hindi or Arabic either.
Nope. If you'd like, you can make a perception academics to try to identify the language.
One success?
It is Nordic. Sounds Nordic. Might be German, but knowing everything that's going on.
I can make an assumption.
Yeah.
Okay. Maggie, takes a finger and slips it into the case and just presses on to the locks of hair, or lock of hair, and just simply whispers Sif's name to see what happens.
There is a hole in the center of the tree. Come see me there.
Maggie kind of groans to herself, but I don't want to go into the tree. She just thinks of the wonderful luck that she has, and she'll walk towards the tree slowly, and then she's gonna get a perception empathy on the people gathered, if that's all right.
Sure. Are you looking for anything in particular?
She's just kind of getting a read of the room, just like general, reactions when she walks up and the general mood of the crowd.
There are couples hugging each other. There are parents hugging their loved ones. People appear overall very shaken, but very, very like they seem to be celebrating. Sif is standing in a very, very large sort of almost a small room that's door is on the tree. She is assisting in patching up one of these people. There is a very, very large wound on his leg that she is wrapping leaves around.
Maggie will approach Sif and crouch down next to where she's at, looking at the wound.
Sif will look over to her. I'm glad you could join me.
Is he one of your people, or is he made of flesh and blood like me?
He is flesh and blood. All of those you see around the tree, they are mortal.
She'll look at the wound. Just on appearances, how bad does it look?
You can see bone.
All right, then. Hang on for a second. Sorry. Um, she'll sort of roll up her sleeves and look at Sif holding out her hands, sort of giving just the gestures of "may I" when looking at the man's wound.
Sif will pull her hands back and nod. Chaos has struck a considerable blow against us. Have you watched the news?
I have.
So you saw what happened in Norway?
And that was Chaos's doing.
Yes. They would call me foolish for coddling the weak. I would
I've
call
never,
them earthbreakers for harming the mortals.
damn, that was a peony, and I get nothing off of that, so. Well. Maggie will look at this man's wounds, and she'll look up at him. Does he seem to be panicked, or is he fairly calm? Obviously, as calm as you can be in a situation like this.
At the moment, he appears to be holding it together.
Okay. Okay, so Maggie is going to slow herself down, and she is going to focus on the element of air and utter the mantra of Yam, and she focuses on the Anahata, or the heart chakra, and I believe she's already at a -2 difficulty for life effects that specifically go to healing, I believe, with the Spark of Life merit. And with her using her foci, she is down at the bare maximum of 3.
Using your foci doesn't lower your difficulty. It allows you to use magic.
Oh, okay. Well then. Interesting. Taking your time. Does that give the
That can help.
difficulty? Okay, yeah. So she'll slow herself down to try and help heal this man's wounds. And she will concentrate, and we'll let her rip. I'm going to say that she's going to spend a willpower point on this. Would this play into her benefactor nature?
If you succeed, it would.
Okay. Well, let's hope. So that would be 3 successes.
Mm-hmm. You successfully heal up the wound. It closes right before your very eyes. You may take 2 willpower points back for your nature and a single point of paradox.
Do you need me to roll anything for the paradox, or is it still...
How much paradox do you have on you?
At the moment, none, as far as I know.
Okay, then you'll just take the one.
Yeah. So she'll kind of shake her head, and she kind of feels a slight ring. But otherwise, she pats the man's knee, and stands up, and then looks at Sif.
These were many of the people that would not have made it out of that.
Death toll is in the thousands over there. How many did you manage to save?
She will look around her. Approximately 600, I believe.
Is this all you were capable of saving?
With the lack of warning we were given, yes.
Why exactly did you call me here?
To show you.
To show me what?
Us did. To all of those people in Norway. Showed you that those of us fighting for order were not okay with simply letting them die.
You say order. Some people might say that that is control.
Perhaps. But do you think these people would be angry at me for controlling them when they would not be living right now otherwise?
There are plenty of people out there who would rather die than lose their free agency.
Perhaps there are. The question is, what would one be willing to give up for safety?
How closely do you follow mortal events, Sif?
I do so rarely. My concerns are on a different scale.
She'll offer her arm out to Sif.
Sif will take it.
And she'll start walking around some of the more scenic parts of the tree. About 15 years ago, Sif, this city witnessed one of the most horrific tragedies to ever be witnessed in modern times. 3,000 people lost their lives on a day. A single day, within a matter of hours. A lot of us sat and watched from the windows of our apartments, from in front of TVs, all sort of transfixed. The world watched together as those people died. Fast forward a year or two, and our governments, our politicians, they passed something called the Patriot Act. And people questioned it because it gave the government a great deal of power. The power to spy on their own people, all in the all under the pretenses of making us safer, making us more secure, to monitor us. The results of which have been negligible. The term, you may have to give up a liberty, or would you be willing to give up a liberty, a few of your civil liberties, to be safer, is now a phrase used to remember something that most in this country's populace look back on with a great deal of scorn. We are blinded by fear, and we gave up part of our own agency. I look at you and I don't see a horrible monster, but I am skeptical enough after things that I've been through to say that there's always a catch or there's a price. You say that you want to protect people, that you bring order to chaos. Does that mean people lose their agency if you succeed?
Should the forces of order prevail, the entire world may become more predictable. It may become more ordered, more stable. I've no interest in mind controlling humans or turning them into what they're not. But stability, structure, it very well may require a sacrifice on all accounts.
And what would that sacrifice be, Sif?
With order, things are as they are, they're as they must be. These things do not change so wildly. There is less mutation. I disagree with those who would think that means less freedom.
Shelby, may I don't have it on my sheet yet because I don't know what I can claim, but do you suppose that Maggie has any dots in Euthanatos lore at this point?
Um,
Has gained of her becoming part of a tradition?
I'd say you could have one dot of it.
All right. May I roll that, please?
Sure. What are you trying to figure out?
Maggie is very interested to sort of take Sif's words and weigh them against the values of the traditions in
Mm-hmm.
more nuanced senses to help form an opinion.
Okay.
I have a success.
Well, you remember what Rose told you. The Euthanatoi are often a force of order among the traditions,
Mhm.
but the technocracy is also technically a force of order for humanity. They're very, very different ideologically, with maybe one similarity. Order is very vague.
Yeah, Maggie's got that idea in spades. She she'll look over to Sif and when you say order, does that mean a predisposed way of things happening? As in fate?
Yes.
And not control.
There will always be a degree of control.
Who would have thought this would be nuanced and have duality to it?
Most things are.
I have trepidations about aiding you or Fenris. I can't see things as you do. To most of us, you're a spirit, a very powerful spirit that has influence on a global scale. To others, you're a god, or goddess in your case. I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that you don't think the same way we do you?
There are similarities, but no. We're very, very different than mortals.
Let's say that those like me aided you and gave you the book and the stone. Would that guarantee your victory?
Unfortunately, until the battle ends, there are no guarantees. But the book and the stone and what they lead to, they have the power to sway it in a direction far beyond anything else.
That direction includes your husband, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Would he be freed if you had that book?
As far as I know, my husband is dead. The book contains the locations of what belongs to him. It can help us.
Out of character, Shelby, when they went into the book, did they see Thor laying there on the slab? I wasn't there for that part of the scene.
Shoot, I don't remember. I don't think that they did.
Okay. What would happen to Alaric, the one who's connected with Fenrir, if you were to achieve victory? Would you kill him?
I'm not an executor. I do not know what will happen to him, but Fenrir will once again be chained. What effect that has on the mortal he has an affinity with is beyond me.
If you won, would you do everything in your power to make sure that he's not harmed?
As much as I would for all others.
Maggie will walk them over to where there's like a pool. It's like a waterfall. And at that point, she'll take her arm out of Sif's and lean over the rail and look over into the water. And what if somebody just wanted to leave all this behind and let the cards fall as they may?
She smiles somewhat sadly. And I suppose we both know which side they were on.
What if they don't want to pick a side?
There are some things in which that is necessary. Leaving things to fall as they may. That is the side of chaos.
Maggie turns around sort of abruptly. That's also the way of order.
What makes you say that?
If everything has a predetermined fate, things falling as they may is just the work of the forces of fate, the work of a wheel.
But we are in a world that has been touched by chaos. Very strongly, in fact. There is not order in the way that things just happen to fall. Not until we can make it that way.
And what if this is all just a cycle? Would you stand in the way of that cycle?
It is a cycle, and a time will come again in which those like you may very well have to decide between order and chaos. And we will begin this all over again.
And some other magi who's already seen more than she really wants to in multiple respects is going to have to make a decision on where she stands. Something that could put her at odds with people that she cares about.
Sif nods.
You want me to help you, I get that much.
Were it up to me, your friends would also be extending a hand to order. But I've seen they've made their decisions.
If it were up to you. And I would like to roll perception empathy on that if I may.
Sure.
I have 2 successes.
She wishes it were up to her, but she doesn't seem to be plotting anything nefarious.
Maggie looks at Sif with sort of a scrutinizing eye. It's pretty clear you do wish it was up to you. If it were, how would you have them side with you?
They would turn over what belongs to us. We would finish this. Order would once again reign over this world for as long as it can.
I don't know how to trust you. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way. I'm just.
The question of faith has plagued mortals for as long as I've known them. What do you have faith in?
I have faith in the fact that everything that starts ends. Even if that includes order and chaos. Neither can reign supreme forever. I'm going to stand on the side of balance, not one absolute. If you want my help, you have to tell me where you stand. Do you seek to balance the scales, or do you wish to tip them in your favor?
Both us seeking order and those seeking chaos look to tip them in our favor. But we acknowledge that there's a chance it will never be permanent.
Look, and she'll look over at the people. Those people, I want to help them. I want to make sure that others don't end up like them. If I had my way about it, the book would just be destroyed and you two could fight it out without it.
There would be much more collateral damage if that happened.
I figured as much.
But for these people, for mortals, order would be much safer for them. For chaos cares not for their lives, cares not for how they do. Chaos would sooner allow them to fall into the depths of the earth than allow them to claw their way back out.
I would like to do something, Shelby.
Sure.
Maggie is going to focus on her Anja, our third eye, and she's going to take out the divination pendant, and she's going to sort of let it swing back and forth from her hand. And I would like to look at these individuals' entropy, or under entropy sight.
Okay. What are you looking for?
Essentially, she's looking to see if Sif pulling them out of there was against what was fated for them. If that was the point in which they were set to expire.
Okay.
What do you need for karmic sight, by the way? Is that spirit and entropy one?
For looking at someone's karma?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know it's spirit and entropy. I think only one of each.
I'll throw in a smattering of spirit in there just as well.
Okay.
Three successes.
Looking around, your results are varied, actually. The one consistent thing is that you'll notice many of these people have relatively good karma. However, there are those among them who were meant to expire in that event. And there are those among them who were fated to have survived it.
Does Sif have any discernible reactions to her using magic?
Sif is just watching. She doesn't seem that displeased with it. Maybe a bit of interest.
Maggie sort of, she just sort of gestures with her chin. That one right there, Sif.
Hmm.
He was meant to die in that earthquake.
And
You stood in the way of fate. It was his destiny, if you want to believe in that sort of thing, to die there. But here he sits.
I do not watch and speak to the fates with every action I take. This mortal was going to die to an act of chaos. I was not willing to stand for that.
When my parents pass away from this life, there's going to be a part of me that doesn't want to let them go. But it is part of the natural order of things. And it may be due to chaos. But I'd have to let it go.
Why would you?
It's not my place to intervene. If that's the time they're meant to go, the vows I've taken, I can't stand in the way of that. It's against the natural cycle. I'm sure you have some concept of cyclic existence.
I do. But is it not possible that the fates will correct that themselves? The fates. They, the fates are capable of fixing such a thing. They're, in many cases, like us with their power.
I can't disagree with you there, but you can understand my caution, my hesitance. I'm over the moon that you saved a lot of these people. I don't like watching people die. I think you know that about me already by now.
She nods.
I want to trust you. Help me in some way. Show me something that I can feel comfortable about all of this. Because
She,
honestly, I'm scared shitless about all of this that I'm going to pick or do the wrong thing. At the very least, I may get one of my very dear friends killed by helping you. Maybe not by your hand, but maybe by Fenrir's. Fenrir is tied closely with him. And if that's the case, helping you may inadvertently kill him.
She will place her hand on the tree. We did not kill Fenrir the last time he brought chaos to this world. He would likely be chained up again, where he cannot continue such a rampage. If you want a great symbol of order, she will put her hand on the tree. Yggdrasil, the world tree, is ever stable. It is a constant, and it connects. It connects far and wide, consistently and reliably. Without it, I do not know what this world would be.
You understand that chaining Fenrir again might lessen my friend, right? It could cut him off from his ability. A fate which no magi wants to even envision.
It is a sacrifice. There are those who would not wish to envision the world ruled by chaos, so much death and suffering, difficult to predict or avoid. Who's to say that one person's great fears outweigh another's?
So are you asking me to put my friend at risk then?
She nods. I do not know what will happen to him, but I can assure you that I'm not looking to execute him.
You're considered by many a god, correct?
I am.
With all of that power, then, what do you know about me?
I'm unsure where to begin.
Maggie looks over at a bench and sits down, and then looks up expectantly at Sif.
Sif will sit down as well. You and I are not connected in the way that Fenrir and your friend are. And the things that I represent, what I have domain over, is not humanity.
How much do you trust me, Sif?
I cannot say. I would say that I trust you enough to be putting the fate of the world in the hands of you and your friends. But that was not any of our decision. I simply hope and have faith that perhaps you can see things as I do. And perhaps we may agree.
We might. But you'd have to earn my trust. And right now, asking me to sacrifice my friend is not doing a good job of it. But I do appreciate the honesty.
What would earn your trust?
To see things through your eyes, to see your intentions, your view, your goals, unfiltered, unobstructed.
That would be impossible for a mortal. We are fundamentally not the same.
No,
What can be interpreted by me may not be interpreted by you. And what you can interpret, perhaps I cannot. There is no seeing the whole picture unfiltered.
maybe not. But two pieces of a puzzle can help you discern more than just one alone, right?
Perhaps.
You can share a sympathetic bond with someone.
Only in the way that Fenrir does. And I believe you already have somebody performing that role for you.
I do. She is a vessel for justice. I want to be able to see inside your head. I don't even know if that's possible. I don't think I have the power to do it.
Unless we were connected in the way that your friend and Fenrir are. I do not believe so. And trying, I don't know what that would do to the one who is already sharing your consciousness.
Alaric is my friend. And there's no way I'm willing to jeopardize him to help you. I can't.
She nods.
But give me a moment. And Maggie, uh, to speak with her avatar, would she need to roll anything for that?
What?
To speak directly to Diana, her avatar.
No, she's still there.
All right. Then she'll simply sit back and close her eyes. And You've been quiet, and she'll just say inside her head. You've been quiet for months now. I haven't spoken to you since I came out of quiet. You have anything to offer me right now? Anything?
Does your friend deserve being sacrificed?
Not for anything I've ever seen him do.
Do these humans around her deserve to live?
Most of them, from what I can see.
Without order is the stuff of the city. It is the stuff of humans. But it is not the stuff of nature. Not as I know it. That is all I can offer.
Then let me ask you another question. What do you think will happen to her if we even attempted to try and share a bond? So that way I could see what she sees.
Is there enough room in a single body for two souls?
Never put it to the test, and you know that.
Then you must ask yourself, are you willing to risk that?
She'll look around at all the people, and then of course bring to mind, her extended family of Alaric, Tomi, Ken, Luke. And she'll just kind of give a look to Diana. How do you think I would answer? She's doing that with a smirk.
You'll feel a slight chuckle. You'll still feel her present, but she doesn't say anything more.
For what it's worth, Diana, even though we met each other under horrific circumstances, if this kills us, it's been a hell of a ride. Maggie opens up her eyes and then looks to Sif. Do you know the place that I work? That I study at, Sif? Do you know what it is?
What's that?
The place where I live and work. Where I saw you last. The casino. Do you know what it is?
I believe it is a place that mortals go to gamble.
Sometimes a leap of faith is very much like a gamble. Right now, as I sit here, I I'm not doing anything for one side or the other. I'm not helping. I can't make Alaric give you the book or the stone, and I'm not going to pry it from him. And I can't go back with a good, compelling argument without be able to trust you. So it might be a gamble. And she'll hold out her hand to Sif. but I couldn't call myself. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't try for the suffering of these people and the suffering of my own friends. You want me to make a choice? You want me to have faith in you? Then try to show me with unclouded eyes what you see. Because for me, there's no other choice right now.
She looks surprised, but she will nod. I can try. That is all I can promise you.
She just keeps her hand out there.
And she will take it. So, are you letting her in?
Yep. Because let's fucking do this. Let's make the fucking donuts.
All right. Can you roll me your avatar rating?
I don't know what the difficulty is, but if it's difficulty 6, that is 3 successes.
Okay, so nothing horrible happens to you. All right. Let's see how this goes. Alrighty. You are going to white the fuck out. Like, all of your vision is going to go pure white. And Maggie will pass out. Right where she stood.
Yeah, she does that from time to time, you know. Last time she passed out, bad things happened, so let's see what happens now.
And when she wakes up, she will find herself there in the center of the very, very first Ragnarok. She will see the ground split open around her feet with magma and lava spewing out. And she will see before her, between a massive serpent and a massive man, a very, very large hammer. She'll watch as the earth shakes and falls apart at their feet, only to fall back into a new shape. We'll watch as the hammer strikes the serpent and sends it spiraling down, its head crashing in front of you. And then you will see as the man turns to swing the hammer down and destroy the serpent's head, the hammer is gone. the hammer disappears, the serpent strikes, and the two are sent spiraling down into one of the holes of the earth. And through the cacophony and the chaos, the earth shakes once more. The lava spewing and the storms raging as things slowly begin to cool in a new shape. You hear perhaps the echoing laughter of Fenrir before things go white once again. And she'll find herself awake, alone completely, in the center of that massive tree. Sif is nowhere to be found, nor are the survivors.
Alright. First thing Maggie's going to do is she's going to check to see if her nose is bleeding, because that seems to always happen when things like this go on.
Yeah, a little bit. It's not like spewing blood, but there is a small trickle down to her upper lip.
She'll sit up. Does her body hurt?
Her body temperature is very, very high, as if, again, she had just stepped away from that lava.
She'll wipe her nose. And she'll just, sort of in the way that she called out to Diana before, she'll just call out, just sort of saying, hello. It's just sort of like shouting into like an echoey field to see who answers.
Diana will answer. She will respond with a simple, I am here. But she sounds very, very tired.
Maggie will then do the same and call out to Sif to see what happens.
Are you just calling out to her in your head, or are you using the hair?
In her head.
There's no response from in your head.
She'll simply say in her head to Diana, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Your recklessness will separate us one day.
You gotta deny that it's not gonna be worth the ride, though?
She still sounds very tired, but there may be a bit of amusement there.
Maggie puts her hand onto the hair and then calls out for Sif again.
You'll simply hear, that is what I know. And I must rest now.
Where did all the people go?
They are safe. You'll notice you arrived here in the middle of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is pitch black outside. You might even see a little bit of the sun starting to rise.
Maggie grumbles to herself, sort of shakes her head, tries to stand up under her own power to see if she even can.
She can stand. All of her muscles ache as if she's just done like 3 triathlons in a row. But she's not incapacitated.
Alright, she'll sort of stumble a little bit. Abraham, are you there?
What do you want?
I swear to God, if you start shit with me, I'm gonna punt you all the way across this entire botanical garden.
I'm trying to get some badger bitches, okay?
There are no badgers in a botanical garden.
You don't know that.
I do know that.
Fucking fight me in the comments, Maggie.
How long have I been laying there for?
Shit, I don't know. The moon's been out twice.
You mean to tell me that I've been laying in the botanical gardens for 2 days and no one's messed with me?
I don't know what's going on.
You've been here the whole time.
Looking for bitches.
There are days I wonder why I don't just shave you completely bald. And then I remember I gave you the ability to pick up objects, which means you could probably stab the shit out of me with a razor. Today is not that day. She'll pick up her bag
Whatever.
and grab Abraham up by the scruff of his neck. And then drop him in the bag.
Ow, fuck. I'm hungry.
You're always hungry. When does that ever change?
It's been so many, like, forevers. I've been eating fucking berries and bugs and shit. I want
You're,
some Taco Bell.
they might be able to get some
I had to
Taco
live
Bell.
like an animal. Like an animal.
You are an animal.
You're an animal.
You're more of an animal.
No, you are.
I, I don't even. I'm not having this conversation with you. And Maggie checks her phone to see how long she's actually been there for, if her phone even still has juice.
Her phone still has juice. It's about to be. It's like when the sun comes up, it'll be Monday morning.
Oh, Rose is gonna kill me. And she she just makes a quick text to Rose just saying, "Not dead. Didn't bring about the end of the world." Heart.
The response you'll get is good.
Yeah, so Maggie will out of character, Shelby, you do realize that the botanical gardens are like a big glass dome, right? That it's a facility?
I did not realize that.
So Maggie's gonna sit inside the tree until it opens.
Let's just pretend there's no roof to this botanical garden because this tree is fucking huge. It's dramatically enormous. So the botanical garden doesn't have a roof.
Okay.
But yeah, there are gates and stuff.
Yeah,
And eventually.
she's not gonna climb over those gates in her current condition. She's just gonna stay in the tree until she starts hearing, like, regular people coming through. So this might be until, like, since it's like a Sunday, 10 or 11 in the morning.
Monday, technically. So it'd probably be, about probably 6 in the morning. You'll be waiting for what feels like maybe 4 hours or so.
And then she'll step out. And, yeah, she's gonna get some Taco Bell because she fucking realizes probably how fucking hungry she is at this point.
And with that, with Maggie and Abraham going on an adventure to get some fast food, some new information gleaned, I believe this is a good point to end our scene. Thank you to our player for playing. What is that?
What?
Oh, okay. Is that like an old dice roll? Because I just saw it.
that was the avatar roll you had me made.
Okay,
3
cool.
successes.
Well then, thank you to our player for playing, and thank you to our watchers for watching. This has been another scene for Living World of Darkness Street Magic.